Hello, this is Manuel, and today I will try to analyze the main points of Maxine Green's article on the passions of pluralism, multiculturalism, and expanding community. Diversity, in my opinion, is the reason humans have survived, apart from the fact that we are all God's creation, and because of Him, we exist. Humans have always been forced to coexist with different races, cultures, beliefs, and principles. We should think by now that we should be adept with the concept of pluralism. However, that can never be the case because, as individuals, we too have our own beliefs and principles that may be isolated from what our collective society has. That is one reason why even families can have divisions. As teachers, we promote that it is better to coexist harmoniously so we may have to make some collective effort to get along without losing or giving up each other's unique identity. The article talks about civism, which requires us to practice good citizenship. However, even this principle may be flawed, being that civism has been identified by the long accustomed colonial practices, which also define democracy in a way that favors and benefits the colonizers, which pervades us up to this day. Education here in America is divided from many points of contention, whether the status quo admits it or not. These contentions come from one's skin color, race, socioeconomic status, political beliefs, sexual orientation, religion, generational differences, and philosophical beliefs. When a student comes into a classroom, that individual walks in with his own knowledge and perceptions of universal concepts such as family, marriage, laws, and common norms, which all affect how he receives new information or new concepts which are unfamiliar to him. An educator focused on delivering a curriculum may make a mistake of trying to force upon that individual's mindset his or her own knowledge, which may be in conflict with the student's existing knowledge. A teacher's role is to open the discussion in a respectful and safe environment and facilitate the understanding of everyone's existing knowledge rather than make judgments on one another. In this manner, pluralism becomes a common practice of sharing differences and creates a culture of empathy, not mere tolerance. It is important that individuals are seen and understood beyond cultural practices or their own ideologies unique to everyone's else's or of that of the majority. The author explains how it is not expected that African Americans' experiences or people who come from third world countries with their unique cultural background and upbringing, which comes with his beliefs and preconceived ideas of the world outside their community or homes, can easily be met with openness and acceptance by the majority. Therefore, the teacher's important role is to create a culturally responsive and meaningful curriculum that can provide solutions to differences that divide, to eliminate misconceptions, steer uncomfortable discussions that aims to unify and care for one another. Now, let's discuss the second article by Richard Rorty, entitled Hermeneutics, General Studies and Teaching. The author explains the theory by a contemporary German philosopher who has developed a theory of interpretation according to which the meaning of a text depends in part of the historical situation of its interpreter. He is concerned that some teachers who apply the principle may be making errors that can result in wrong connotations of literature that is reviewed or studied. Hermeneutics was once conceived as a scientific way to interpret. However, as Nietzsche explained, truth is not a property. Truth is interpreted by the way individuals who have witnessed and experienced an event, by how it affected them and the impact it had caused their community. That is why it is important to rely on more than one source of narrative if one wants to fully immerse themselves in the truest account they can possibly extract from different perspectives. However, again, if a perspective is publicized as the only truth, then it is reduced to what is called vulgar relativism, which is, in a sense, mere propaganda that seeks to control a narrative. The Dewey-Gadamer views hermeneutics as the ability to gather what we interpret and use this to improve what was false and errors from the past, which I believe is again a liberal stance on education that espouses the virtues of a democratic ideal. Interpretation of history or literature, such as the Bible, has many layers. These layers include political, religious, and cultural truths. Hence, each author from each perspective may not give importance or emphasis on the other areas that affect the other perspectives that are of equal relevance. As an educator to millennials and Generation Z students, I believe it is important that they understand the theory behind hermeneutics, especially to this generation wherein information is fast, that narratives are easily accessed almost every hour. In teaching this form of interpretation, teachers can set actual examples from current events and have them gather these interpretations to synthesize a narrative that is closest to the truth, at the same time opening the discussion rather than using their narratives as propagandas. Thank you for listening.